I think this is like, it's just their turn. They're on a queue. APC, PDP, LP, this is just their time. It's expected. Some people said they've been one of the most stable parties up until now. And one would say the timing, it's somehow because coalitions are forming, people are decamping, El-Rufai has gone to their party, so a lot of interest has brought in a lot of eyes on the party. So everybody wants to know who's going to do my bidding, who's going to give me the automatic tickets I would need, and who will house my supporters. So the already existing structure, it seems, might not be able to accommodate this interest. So people within the party would definitely pitch their camps with different groups. I was listening to the embattled chairman, and he said he was approached by different groups to support their coalition, and he said, okay, come into the party, we'll create a room for you to work together and achieve your ambition. But I think a lot of demands is resting on the fact that some people want something automatic, or give us guarantees that you're going to give us this ticket, as against opening it up for everybody to contest. So yeah, I think we'll also see more of this, not just in the SDP. We'll see it in other political parties.
While noting that, is this a good thing for the SDP currently? Is it a good thing? I ask two-point questions here. Is it that this kind of focus on them would actually help sharpen accountability on their part? People would begin to look at and say, okay, the party actually has an internal system that is self-cleansing. Or is it going to cast aspersions on the party itself, saying, these guys, especially with all the attention on them right now, like the icons that are moving to the party, these guys, I'm not too sure that this is the party to vote for.
So this looks like accountability, but I don't think it is accountability. Because over time, we've not had political parties declare their accounts. So this is how much has come in, and this is how much we expended, and these are the line items. And then suddenly, close to the election period, during this sensitive period, we now have people alleging, and you're innocent until proven guilty. Yeah. And nobody is making an attempt to follow due process. So there's an allegation, investigations have not been concluded, and somebody has already been, a group has suspended somebody. This is not me going to bat for any party in this, but if there were an attempt to follow processes and procedures. Now, the problem we have with political parties is they're supposed to be the vehicle that represents, what democracy is, the tenets of democracy. But they are the biggest flouters of these rules. There are no internal party democracies. To the extent that the Supreme Court has said, you know what, go and do your thing. Sort yourselves out, because you're supposed to have a system that regulates this whole, your internal issues. But what do we have? We have factions, we have people who are interested in certain things, and they'd rather burn down the system than follow due process. So if this man has been alleged to have misappropriated funds, I expect you call in the security agencies, the anti-graft agencies, to do your investigation. If a report comes out from that, you can use that to summon your next meeting and have the man removed. But you're alleging, and then you're taking action, and you're dismantling all the systems that's taking years to build. So I don't think it's even in your best interest as a party, because by the time you finish this, the new structure that's coming in might not accommodate you. You might also become a fringe player after having served interests that necessarily might not serve you.
All right. Now, joining us, we're being informed that the National Publicity Secretary of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Rufus Aiyenigba, joins us live virtually. A very good morning to you, sir, and thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you for doing this with us this morning. Let's just get started, shall we? And might I just ask, for you to sort of outline the key findings of the National Working Committee, from the National Working Committee, regarding these suspensions and allegations and now suspension of the National Chairman. Mr. Rufus, if you can hear me.
The national chairman. Nigerians. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yes,
we can hear you.
I was asking about, for you to outline the findings, the key findings of the National Working Committee, from the National Working Committee meeting regarding the suspension of the national chairman. What were the allegations and the findings that was made by the committee?
Was democratic consolidation towards moving our democracy to the desired level. SDP is a national political party that has a relatable history. It's been on there since the days of Babangida, who created it, along with NRC. It won election in 1993, presidential election. And in this modern time, in contemporary time, it's been registered and it's been functioning as a national political party since 2013.
We seem to be having issues with Mr. Rufus Aiyenigba's connectivity there. We'll try to sort that out as we come back here into the studio here with Josh Moses. Josh, we were just talking about, the scandals that sort of thrilled all of the political parties, whether it's Labour Party, PDP, and now Social Democratic Party, and how you see this as somewhat of a turn-by-turn process. But let's also take on party succession plans with these parties as well. We've seen that with PDP, we've seen that with Labour Party as well, where there should be a proper succession plan, but it only happens when there is scandals that we're now seeing an acting national chairman comes on, and then there's now an issue with INEC. What does this say about proper succession plans with political parties in Nigeria?
So I would say that if you go through the constitution of all the parties, or most of the parties, you will find that these constitutions are healthy. They were thoughtfully crafted. But where you have interest, when you have interest, and parties who have the wherewithal to cause chaos, they do not respect processes. Nigerian politicians do not respect processes. They do not care for processes. They care for the end result. Now, whoever is going to come out smiling at the end of the day will feel he has won. But then when the table turns, he's still going to go back to the same constitution that he has probably abused to say, oh, you need to protect me according to the dictates of this. They all have, like you said, succession plans, 3 years, 4 years, you do. A lot of them will not call conventions, they won't call meetings, they won't have the requisite 2/3. Because I was trying to check up on this. What majority acceded to this suspension? Now, the SDP and the people involved would have their logic and their reasons. But the fact is, there's a deliberate ploy not to obey or not to follow laid down rules and regulations that they all agreed to. Now, I was also trying to read up on this, and the allegations that the current acting chairman is not even a registered member of the party. I don't know how true that is. But if you have questions like this, it tells you that the systems and processes that are in place are not being followed. Now, let's talk about the financial impropriety. If you have a healthy financial system, money should not leave without proper authorization.
Yeah, accountability, transparency.
In fact, the chairman should not have access to finances. It's just approvals, maybe queries to say this should be, this should not be. And he's alleging that most of the members are beneficiaries because the National Publicity Secretary is saying, oh, monies are paid into personal accounts. And the chairman is saying, you people also benefited. We furnished your offices, we gave you this, we gave you that. So who do we believe? Who is a saint in this matter?
Like in local parlance, Judith, blood will touch everybody.
Exactly.
If I'm going down, you're going down as well.
No, it's only one head that's ruling.
But there's two years to the elections, and the SDP is coming out with this, and you've just touched on the fact that it might seem like accountability, but it really isn't accountability. Votes, what moves votes is perception. How will this affect them at the elections? Would it be big names could save them through this scandal, or that where else would Nigerians perhaps look at? Because whatever is happening here seems to be happening in the PDP. The APC has got its own shake-up with the chairman resigning over the week. So what's their standing come 2027?
So at the party level, the politics does not really spill out to the streets yet. So all they are trying to do is to woo people, woo big stakeholders, big names.
That's the problem, that at the party level, these things don't spill out, or people aren't totally concerned about these. Because if they note all these little indices that should add up to their perception, they would know how to make the right decisions. But noting that money is being eaten in this party and it doesn't spill out to the streets, and people are like, no, I don't know about that, I'm still going to vote for this party in any case.
So you have a problem where a lot of Nigerians are not members of political parties. It's just a few. So if something doesn't directly concern me, I wouldn't even know as much as, if this is not playing out in the news, many people would not know. And they are not one of the very big parties that any little scandal can get amplified. Now the thing is, for them, they are manning this in such a way that they are able, whoever is going to come into SDP would not really care about this scandal. Does it work for me? How do I take advantage of this situation? So he comes in, he cleanses the party with his money, appoints his loyalists, and is like, you know, it's a new day, it's a new dawn. And they move, send their message, their PR, their comms, and go to the polls and we vote. So Nigerians do not necessarily care about the health of the party. It's how you come out on the other side. And I'm not saying that is a good thing. It is a source for concern. But how many political parties do you actually want to keep track of? INEC is trying to register 110. I can't even say this is the number of political parties we currently have, let alone who is active, who is not active. Currently, we just know the three big players right now, PDP, PDP, LP, and APC. So those are the people we necessarily concern. Until you have fringe parties winning local government elections, winning council elections. So that's where we start connecting with you on a party level. We want to know your party, what you believe in. But since most of our concentration is on the national and maybe state level, a lot of people will wait for those parties with the resources that can appeal to them, that can speak the language that they speak. So we need to, for political parties to become relevant, they need to go to the grassroots again, start getting followers from the grassroots. You start educating people on your ideologies, on your philosophies, but we don't have that. A party can just have a coalition at the national level, build from the top, and come to the bottom, and nobody, exactly, it is not bottom, exactly.
I have to ask you, right, and there are two bodies that we need to put this into as well, and I haven't seen it happen yet, which is very shocking to me, and that is the party not alerting the anti-graft agency, the EFCC, regarding this financial misappropriations that we've seen, whether it's the Labour Party, whether it's, you know, the PDP, and now Social Democratic Party itself. We've not seen that. What does this signal about the due diligence that you talked about? That's first. And then second, INEC is the second agency here. How is this going to translate to INEC? How are they going to relate this suspension to INEC? And hopefully there won't be any
documentation brouhaha that's going to lead into...
not just documentation, but also Labour Party had that issue as well, where, you know, there's now another convention going on and exactly happening. What's this going to... How can they avoid that happening at the national level with INEC?
So at the end of the day, the anti-graft agencies have a responsibility to monitor these parties. I believe they have a political desk. So for whatever it is, monthly audits, half-yearly audits, yearly audits, you should have a desk, in fact, in every political party. But we know that he who pays the piper will dictate the tune. The president came out to say he's happy about the crisis happening in all the parties and the coalitions and their IDPs. So I don't know how interested an anti-graft agency would be in vetting what happens in the party and making sure and they won't do it to the big parties. They've not paid their rent in Abuja. Nobody knew until the minister decided that, you know what, I'm shutting the office.
The minister from the very same party.
But that is the thing. If we had audited this party for years, we probably have known that these people are owing ground rent or whatever it is they said they were owing.
So this is part of this.
Yes, the anti-graft agencies have to take their job seriously. You know, they have to be interested in politically exposed persons and the parties and the vehicles that they run in, because monies can move from one person to the party, and we can't track who has moved this money. It could be somebody who's sponsoring terrorism. It could be somebody who's engaged in illegal activities. We don't know. Now, to INEC, does INEC have the technical capacity to vet, audit, and really supervise these parties? If you go to INEC state offices, how equipped, how manned are they? At the headquarters, do they have the financial team, experts, to be able to audit these parties as they should? Or would they require third-party access? So at all levels, I think there's a dereliction of duty. And it works in favor of the politicians, it works for the political parties, because the less they are supervised, the more they can put up impunity and get away with it. All they care about is winning the elections.
I mean to hold that Mr. Rufus Aiyenigba is back with us. Mr. Rufus, are you there with us now? Is Mr. Rufus Aiyenigba with us? National Publicity Secretary for the SDP. I do not think he is with us currently, so we'll continue with you, Moses. Moses, so a lot of political parties going through the same thing as allegations of mismanagement, fund mismanagement, or maybe even corruption outright. The SDP, like you said, have their own fair share right now. But what can the SDP do to show a reformist attitude, Judith Loss, to show a reformist attitude that's separate from what the other parties are doing?
I'll be very honest with you, Ariel. This will play out and become dirty at the end of the day. If they wanted to, do the right thing, you would have sent a petition. They would have sent a petition to the EFCC or ICPC and said, this is what we think this guy is. ICPC will step in or EFCC will step in for an investigation. At the end of a certain period, they will release a report. You can use that report to hold your sitting and get this man out. If none of these things have been done, because the man is alleging that nobody has invited him for any question, an investigation. Now they on their part are saying we've petitioned. So clearly there has to be internal checks and a willingness to obey and uphold internal systems and processes. If that is not done, if that is not paramount, if we all want to just politic, at the end of the day, we'll still end up in a situation where we'll come with reconciliation committees. Somebody who can beg aggrieved members after they've decamped and, which is what we see in the PDP, we've seen in the APC, we've seen in all these other parties. Because I think we always put the cart before the horse. Would rather mess the whole thing up and then go back and beg that, we didn't know, it was politics, and so please come back to the party and help us. Every party in Nigeria is rebuilding. They are all rebuilding. So you can't say this is the structure of this party. This is how succession happens. This is how financial transactions are done. You have philanthropists, other individuals who come in, gracious hosts who give things, gifts. Even supporters now expect these things. You can't go and campaign anywhere and you don't drop anything and people take you seriously. It's the nature of politics in Nigeria. We are used to handouts. So processes are not things, they are mere suggestions. Constitutions of parties are mere wishful thinking. Is there? Is it there? Okay, check it. It works for us. So like I said, it's going to play out. It's going to get dirty. And it's very likely that the current faction will have their way and get their own persons. And let's see how the coalition also unfolds. As more big wigs come into the party, we are going to see interest that might even supersede this current one until it gets to a point where it ends up in court, and they'll figure it out.
And so we're rounding this up. I just wanted to ask Moses here, which iconic politician might likely see the SDP as enticing and join?
We already have.
No, which other ones? Which other ones might?
We already have somebody there. They're trying to register their own political parties. If it scales through, we may not have a situation where most of them will go to the SDP, or we have just a few of them. But if it doesn't, you still see them come back to the SDPs and other fringe parties.
Or it might just be a coalition, right? So
eventually,
eventually it could be a merger of other several parties. Joshua, it's been sublime having you on. Very instructive, very in-depth analysis, intelligent. We appreciate you. Joshua Moses, he is a communications and media professional experience, as you can hear from his submission here. Also joining us earlier was Rufus Aiyenigba. He is the National Publicity Secretary of the SDP. Unfortunately, we couldn't take his submission due to connectivity issues. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we come back, there's plenty more on Breakfast Extra. Stay with us.